Between us and this regime, there is more than just a political disagreement. There is a sea of blood. You cannot play both sides without stepping on the blood of the Iranian people. The crimes committed here can neither be forgotten nor forgiven.
I want to talk to my fellow Americans for a minute. The vast majority of these people who protested and are being murdered and held in prisons, being tortured and raped, are young people the age of your children and grandchildren. You go online and you look at these photos, you see 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds dead, their eyes wide open, looking into the sky. They had to wonder, my God, what's happening to me? Their prisons are filled with thousands and thousands of these young people who want what our kids want on a Friday night in America, to go to a movie, not to be forced to cover their hair and their face, to dance, maybe have a drink if they're old enough to go out on a date. This is what they want. This is Persia. The Persian people are Western people. That's what they are. You know what? Iran today is a concentration camp. The lights are off, the electricity is off, it's dark, there's no communication except for Qatar's communication system, Al Jazeera. People are being dragged out of their homes tonight as I speak. They're hiding in their homes. They're being executed summarily. The prisoners, who are the age of your children and grandchildren, are being tortured and raped. It's not 3,000 dead. I just read it's 23,000 dead, and the number's going up. You can't.
In Rasht, government forces set the marketplace ablaze on one side, while opening fire on protesters from the other. Reports indicate over 1,000 lives were lost there. In Tehran, suppression forces executed a calculated plan to massacre protesters using live ammunition. They even trapped high school students in a dead-end alley and sprayed them with bullets. The regime tries to hide these atrocities, including using chemical weapons on protesters by cutting off the internet, but various sources report that over 16,000 freedom fighters have been slaughtered.
But it's a credible report to me, and it says the city's prison is overcrowded with detained and arrested protesters. The court halls are filled with families of detainees, and no lawyers are being allowed to defend those who have been arrested. People believe that some kind of toxic chemical substance has been used against protesters, causing some of the injured to lose their lives days later. The number of those killed and injured is very high.
The reason for this unprecedented brutality? This time, protesters didn't just say they didn't want the regime. They shouted for the replacement, a leadership that has called upon the United States for support. The regime has shown it has no red lines when it comes to crime. The question now is, will the US and Israel allow such a regime armed with long-range missiles and enriched uranium to continue its reign of terror? For Europe, the threat is an economic and humanitarian crisis that will send millions of refugees to their borders. For Israel, it is an existential threat from a regime that repeatedly targets residential areas. For the US, the risk involves the closure of global shipping lanes, attacks on military bases like Ain al-Assad, and missile development in Venezuela. While those financially or ideologically tied to the regime oppose military intervention or the leadership of the Iranian Revolution, the reality on the ground is miles away from their abstract idealism. The tale of two generations, ideology versus rationality. Unlike the generation of 1979, which chased vague ideologies, today's generation of rejection, a generation standing tall to ensure history does not repeat itself, seeks results. Their choice is rational. In this journey, the national leadership has provided a clear response to this maturity. When we speak of help from the people, it is a mutual pact that preserves life and security. This is a strategic choice aimed not at destruction like the 1979 riots, but at reclaiming life itself. The turning point today, all eyes are on two decisive factors. The three-day call to action by Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi the international commitment from leaders like Trump and Netanyahu to end this regional deadlock. This is where the lines are drawn. Unlike the empty slogans, this movement is built on pragmatism. They know that freedom is not born from tired cliches, but from the unity of the people on the ground and decisive international support. The question remains, do you stand with those fighting for Iran's freedom, or do you stand with the anti-Semites, worried about losing a regime that rose to power through Palestinian militias and views the slaughter of Jews as its primary duty?
There were some Arab extremists who later on we found that they had links with Habash and some other Palestinian extremist group. In fact, it was after this sitting with these people that we decided, after a lot of conversation with them, that the tactic from now on should be a sabotage, assassination, in simple word, urban guerrilla warfare.
Tens of thousands killed, more than 8,000 blinded, 300,000 wounded. Millions of bullets have been fired into the streets of Iran. Is there anyone left who still clings to the hope of reform or change from within this regime? The line has been drawn. Anyone who has remained a part of this government after the events of January 8th stands accused of complicity in the massacre of the people. Do you, like the people of Iran, believe that you don't negotiate with terrorists? The terrorists of the regime understand only one language, the language of the F-35, the B-2 stealth bomber, and cruise missiles.